This video was recorded in front of a live virtual audience. Hi everybody, Dacob here. Welcome back to the Fragrance Bunker. Today we're going to be reviewing a perfume by Louis Vuitton. Rhapsody. I got a sample of Rhapsody by Louis. The Extrait de Parfum, mind you. Okay, here we got a 2 ml. I think they're 2 ml. Yeah, a 2 ml. Yeah, there we go. Rhapsody, and not by Queen, Freddie Mercury Rhapsody, but there it says. Yeah, let me cover. There you go. Rhapsody. This is the little bottle. So let's review it. Now, subscribe to my channel first here on the tubes. And thank you for all of you who have already subscribed. I'm live streaming this review on my main superdacob channel, where I live stream every Saturday. Everybody's welcome to join me, and we do talk about fashion and perfumes there as well. So thank you all for joining every Saturday. Everyone's invited. We're going to review this one together now. And also, if you wish to support the Fashion Bunker and the Fragrant Bunker, join me. Become a patron today. Superdacob all spelled together on Patreon. Thank you to all my patrons who have already pledged, and also for my members on my main YouTube channel, the Superdacob channel. So let's spritz away, you guys. Where's the little nozzle? My batch code is 1G01, I want to say. It's 1G01A1. Okay, Rhapsody. Reminds me of something. It does. Let me see. Okay, so Rhapsody by Louis Vuitton. The bottle, now this is their, for the first time they've released the extraits, the pure perfumes. Usually we're used to seeing their eau de parfums, but now there's I think there was 5 of them, but they keep adding more. So the last time I checked in the boutique, when they gave me this sample, they had 5 perfumes represented under the Extrait collection, bottle and stopper, designed by Frank Gehry. Frank Gehry, who is a very famous architect, who already collaborated with Louis Vuitton a couple of years back when he made that abstract little kind of bag that looked like a trunk bag, but it was morphed, typical Frank Gehry architectural design, but turned into a bag, which has thus become a very collectible item. The Rhapsody is a shebrah floral fragrance for women and men. This is a new fragrance. Rhapsody was launched in 2021. The nose behind it is Jacques Cavalier Beltrude, who is the main perfumer, head perfumer for the house of Louis Vuitton, but not exclusive to Louis Vuitton. So the fragrance has opening notes: lily of the valley, oak moss, yerba mate, which, ding, 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 I always drink my yerba mate. This is not beer. It is yerba mate. Where did we have yerba mate already? In which Louis Vuitton fragrance? In Cactus Garden. Be sure to check out my Cactus Garden review. Louis Vuitton fragrance, based all on yerba mate. So thus far, lily of the valley, it's present everywhere. Not a huge fan of perfumes that open with lily of the valley, but lily of the valley, oak moss, we love. Mate, we love. Jasmine, vetiver, rose, and patchouli. Interesting, right? Now, let's see what the Louis Vuitton website says about this perfume. So if you go to their website right now, it says that it's available exclusively on LouisVuitton.com and in select Louis Vuitton stores. The sophistication of shebrah illuminates the infinite horizon. Where the horizon stretches out to infinity, an extraordinary journey begins. Captivating, exhilarating. This is where everything begins, and where everything is reborn in a perpetual olfactory alchemy. The master perfumer Jacques Cavalier Beltrude reinvents one of the most sophisticated accords in perfumery, the shebrah accord, to elevate its DNA. Radiant jasmine grandiflorum mingles with ilang ilang to transfigure patchouli and wreath it in light. Woody notes and vetiver intensify the structure for chiaroscuro relief, while fresh, clear mate intensifies the verdant character of this exquisitely crafted perfume, so they say, the quintessence of elegance, so they say. Rhapsody is part of the Louis Vuitton Les Extraits collection, expressing the encounter of two great creative minds. Through these 5 exceptional, highly concentrated fragrance treasures, Jacques Cavalier-Beltrude reinvents the perfume extrait with boldness and fluidity. Frank Gehry, one of the greatest architects of all time, so they say, I don't agree with that, designs this first perfume bottle. He began with Mark Newson's original bottle, stretching the lines into curves. From his sculptural flourish emerges a transparent veil that appears to float in the air. The bottle is tapped with a precious hand-polished metal cap, like the splash of an airy, imaginary flower. I'm going to show you the bottle in a second. Detailed features, keynotes, ilang ilang mate vetiver. The bottle is refillable, format 100 milliliter. Ingredients. Now, I've been looking at the ingredients to see if they have the actual oak moss or tree moss extract listed, and they don't. A lot of other perfume houses, despite IFRA regulations, still are allowed to use a really tiny percentage of oak moss, and they still do, but it's not the case here. I'm reading through all of the ingredients. And there is no oak moss listed. No natural oak moss is in here, so it's all synthetic. And this is the bottle. So this is kind of the original shape of the Louis Vuitton perfumes up until now, and then it's morphed. It's kind of a little more bobbly at the top. Frank Gehry kind of morphed the bottle, and then he designed this metal splash of water stopper on top. So this is what you get when you buy the bottle, right? I think it's, how much is it? Like around $500 or something like that. I can't remember anymore the price. Whatever. I've lost track of their price increases of all of these brands. It's kind of irrelevant at the end of the day. It doesn't really even matter. So, ilang ilang. There is a moment. Rich Mitch is saying in the chats, imaginary flower. I don't know if I can blend in comments. Yeah, I can. Okay. Imaginary flower. Jesus says, mate is drank globally. And Jesus also says, bottle is giving clairs. Rich Mitch says, hello, mate. You know what's fascinating about this one? You inhale it and you get like a screechy metallic floral note, probably Lily of the Valley. But I keep inhaling as much as I have air. Like I go, and the deeper I inhale, the more I take off of the skin and the more I penetrate through those florals, which are not really very good in here. But you get to a very, very warm scent. That patchouli with the mate and whatever they use as a substitute for oak moss. It's really good. The ilang ilang is buttery. The smell isn't sweet, sickly sweet. It is just water-inducing, mouth-water-inducing. It's so fascinating. I gotta say, I've been very critical to Jacques' work at Louis Vuitton. I always say I love what he did for Gaultier. I love Classique. Hands down masterpiece of a perfume, right? So I know he can do better than what he's been doing at Louis thus far. But I gotta say, This is very, very fascinating. This thing has hints of other perfumes and other brands. It's reminiscent of something that I've smelled before, but I can't quite point it out yet. Maybe I will get to it through the review. Oh, it's good, you guys. It has something very classy and heavy in it. Um, Something that could be a late 80s fragrance. It does have some 80s vibes going on. Shoulder pads are there, you guys. But it has a twist. It really smells like a modern interpretation of an 80s shebrah. And this shebrah quality of this perfume echoes the 70s, but it's not the 70s. It echoes the 80s, but it's not the 80s. It's very modern. But the problem again with this one, just like with all Louis Vuitton fragrances, it doesn't really have a standalone character. It does feel like it is a an accessory to the overall Louis Vuitton look. It's like this you wear to top off your head to toe Louis Vuitton look, and that's kind of the vibe it gives off. It comes really close to being its own thing, though. Closer to being its own thing than most other perfumes from that range, except for Cactus Garden. Cactus Garden really stands its own in its own right. It stands on its own feet. Jesus says, "How can a sheepra not be good? There are not good sheepras. There are." Alina says, 400 pounds, gotta really love it. Yeah, it's like, but they sell it to you as a pure perfume. Considering that it is a pure perfume for 100 mil, 400 pounds isn't a lot compared to, let's say, how much even mass released, not niche perfumes, how much mass released perfumes cost in the pure extrait concentration. Now, this one here is extrait de parfum. Actually, extrait de parfum is not the extrait. It's still not the extrait because otherwise they would call it extrait. But extrait de parfum is a little bit like when Dior released Esprit de Parfum for Poison. Now Poison only has eau de toilette in the 80s version of Poison. We can still purchase nowadays the eau de toilette, but from Christian Dior, you cannot purchase the Esprit de Parfum, the Cologne, the Cologne Light anymore. Or they actually also had a pure perfume of Poison, which was called Parfum. So this is the Extrait de Parfum, which is not quite Parfum, or not quite Extrait, but it should be a little bit tighter than Eau de Parfum. Smurfette74 says, I'd expect a nicer bottle from Frank Gehry. I mean, yeah, I know what you're saying. But I think for Frank, it was a bit difficult to deal with this because he's used to making corners, cuts, rounded off, but with sharp edges that are morphing. But here he was given a completely organic material, the round shaped bottle. So he tried to break the structure by making that drop of water into that metal bursting. Those edges are a little bit sharper, but still it's an organic round fluidity of kind of this effect of water frozen in time. So I think Frank's strength is more with geometric shapes morphed, like sharp edged shapes morphed, rather than round spheric shapes morphed. He's not so strong with the spherics. He's more strong with the cubic or cuboid shapes. I just my, 2 cents. Susie Q says, every time you review a perfume, I buy it, lol. Thanks. Phoenix says, I like to drink my mate, not wear it, lol. Yeah, I love to drink it too. Let me take another sip. Let's hydrate with yerba mate while hashtag not sponsored. I just love drinking it. Hmm. Tasting it, smelling it. Interesting. Now, the mate in this one is not as beautiful and strong as in Cactus Garden. That's where I say, yas, yas queen. Cactus Garden is amazing. I love that perfume so much. This one, it's slightly green, you know, that green type of shebrah that we know from the 70s or even 60s. I mean, I got a bottle of cabochard here somewhere. I have here the cabochard eau de toilette. Hold on, let me. This is kind of like one of those big shebrahs out there. In a relatively newly reformulated version of it, you know. The bottle wasn't like this when it was first. Oof, cha, okay. This is smoky shebrah. But take away the heaviness of the 60s/70s shebrahs. Add a bit more buttery, oily, corpulent smells, and you get a modern day shebrah. That's what Rhapsody is. So, you know, while cabochard and all of the shebrah family back in the day, they have a bitter note to them. They have that dry, bitter, green, ashy, almost like an ashtray, ashy smell to them. The modern day shebrah that Cavalier envisions here is more user-friendly. You know, it's more for the masses. It's more for the rich that want to be comfortable, darling. You know, have their cars pick them up, darling, and drive them off to wherever they have to go, darling, you know. It's a more pleasant shebrah. It doesn't fight you. Usually, classic shebrahs, they battle you. They challenge you. They're like, oh, you think you can wear me? Huh? We'll see about that. That's what a true shebrah is. This one is not challenging you. This one acknowledges the fact that a rich person has bought it and it is pleasing you. You know, it is servicing you. And this is where I have a problem with, in general, really high-end luxury perfumes. They behave like servants to assert and ascertain the fact that they're worn by their masters. And this is something that it doesn't go down well with me, because it reflects the type of society we're living in at the moment, where a certain level of power and riches is portrayed through a certain type of fashion and behavioral patterns when it comes to how to consume champagne, how to consume caviar, how these places where the rich now go to enjoy their money are built. This kind of light-hearted transparency of everything, but the fakery of it all, and extreme wealth nowadays is literally just about squandering the money without actually receiving a lot of quality for it, except for complete submission of whoever is servicing you. And this is something I've noticed in a lot of really expensive niche fragrances. They are submissive to their masters. This can be totally your thing, in which case, go for it, more power to you. Not in my case. I like a challenge. I like something to fight against me, you know. Especially when it comes to a shebrah, you know. I think the closest a shebrah has ever gotten for me to walking that perfect thin line between being pleasant and also being a ratchet, smoky, bitchy character, like annoying, you know. This one can be very annoying. Cabochard can be just like aromatics elixir to me. It can annoy the shit out of me. It's a shebrah that is constantly like poking at you like, hey, you sure you can pull me off? Hey, I don't think you can. Hey, it never lets you go, you know? This one also, but the Rhapsody version of a shebrah is friendly. It's like, what else can I do for you today, my lord? How else can I pleasure you today, my lord? It's a bit too friendly, yeah, for a shebrah. Now, the only shebrah, as I was mentioning before, that walks that thin line between being the annoying ashtray and being a goddess delivering to you the goods is Chanel number 19. Chanel number 19 is a shebrah that, oh, it's amazing. It's just, for me, my favorite shebrah of all time. It's number 19. Cristal is more shebrah-esque than 19, for sure. But that's why Cristal goes a little bit more into that ashtray direction that annoys me. So I can't just always wear it. It annoys the shit out of me because it goes, it's great. I love it to bits, but at a certain point, it just keeps knocking. It's like banging at you. Hey, 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 hey. I was just like, let me go for a second here. Number 19 balances very well that hey, 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 and that soothing masterfulness of a cold-hearted bitch. It's beautiful. Rhapsody, as Mr. Cavalier would like to describe it, a new modern vision of a shebrah, is a submissive shebrah. It is a shebrah that is easy to love. It pleases you immediately. It is not offensive in any way, shape, or form. There's a beautiful, beautiful warmth at the base of it. Like, as I said, the longer you inhale it, the closer you get to that steaming, not hot, but warm heart. It is really beautiful. It has it has hints of something Chanel. It has hints of a little bit of Dior. It has, obviously hints of Louis Vuitton. It's a very, very pleasant perfume, but in a good way, not in a cheap way. It's not that kind of simple, good smelling perfume. It has complexity to it. Now, mind you, none of Louis Vuitton's perfumes are really that complex. They're quite superficial, even if the ingredients might be great in some of them. There's a superficiality to their perfumes, which some people really love. That kind of clean lined, streamlined, clean smell. This one has a little bit more texture to it. I guess because, Ilang Ilang delivers a buttery substance to a perfume. The Jasminum grandiflorum also, it's a day blooming jasmine. It delivers an indolic quality, which also has heft to it. Oak moss obviously delivers a green depth, even though here we have a synthetic substitute for it. But they're all ingredients that really, what else is in there? They all play a really, Lily of the Valley is usually a cold, poisonousy smell. Mate, definitely textured and layered. Vetiver, rose, and patchouli. Now, patchouli is the oily component of this, which, in fact, if you look, too much light here, but I see it. It's glistening on my skin still after so many minutes. It still has that slight oily consistency on my skin. So there is an essential oil substance in there. There's a woodsy component in there that's almost like a burnt licorice. Hint of a burnt licorice and rose wood. Interesting. But very niche. Again, that thing that we say often, like when a niche perfume smells niche. This one smells niche. And, it's like, it could have done more. It didn't have to go into that, hey, this is how niche should smell. And so if you smell like this, it means you spent a lot of money on a perfume. So, it's very hipster, very showing off that you're like cool, that you think about the perfumes you wear, like you choose them properly, and like the the minimalist approach, totally empty living room, just one wooden table, and then you got that perfume is standing there, and like, a little book, coffee table book, and behind you on the little furniture pieces, a little vase, designer vase, darling, with a little very studied. Every flower is in a position that, it's just, it's nauseating to me. These type of houses and apartments that are stripped of life. They're stripped of everything for the sake of being hyper curated. They have no soul left. And it's funny how a perfume like this, Rhapsody, which is supposed to be, Bohemian Rhapsody comes to mind immediately from the Queen. It's supposed to deliver this, whoa, joy for life, a rhapsody of singing, of something that comes to a conclusion, with a climax in it. The opposite of that aseptic, empty living room, hyperly curated by some snotty person that works in marketing or PR, and they got to refurbish the apartment every season because there's a new trend happening, and they got to be on trend because they do marketing and PR. So when people come into their home, they have to have, the newest empty is basically what we're talking about here. The newest form of empty. And they're always battling each other. Like, who can have the most aseptic house in the newest way? Empty in the newest way. A lot of space, but we don't fill it up. We don't put anything anywhere. We just sit, meditate, enjoy. That ridiculousness of it all. Well, this perfume is meant to smell that way. And I know this review is all over the place because it makes me feel all of these things. And it is pleasant at the same time. Yes, there is something alluring about this. But we know it's game. So, do we like when we know a perfume's game from the get-go? Usually, I don't. I prefer a perfume to unveil itself layer by layer, bit by bit. Tease me, make me want more. This one is kind of showing me its cards from the get-go. It says, listen, you paid a lot of money for me. I look really fabulous. Frank Gehry, darling, designed me. Empty table, empty space in your living room. Just put me on the table. Looks just dandy, darling. When your friends come, you say, oh, you got the Frank Gehry bottle, darling. It's a limited edition, darling. But then again, it's only for one season. Louis has to design new perfumes next year. Well, actually, we're already in the next year because this one is 2021. We're already in 2022. You best believe they're going to need another collab. They're going to need to release a bunch of new perfumes this year that are going to be the new. And you're going to have the new if you want to fill up your empty space with the new empty. And yes, these niche perfumes oftentimes reflect exactly that mentality and mindset. So I guess if I'm going to say, well, how does this Rhapsody smell like? The perfume is called Rhapsody, but how does this Rhapsody smell like? Does it have that climax? Does it have that Bohemian Rhapsody corpulent aspect to it like Freddie Mercury from the Queen would sing? No, not at all. Not at all. This is the comfortable version of all of that, made for spoiled, bored, slightly depressed, because it's fancy to be depressed, rich people. What am I saying? Let's go to Chanel for a second here, as one does on my channel often. And we see what Chanel is doing lately with how they promote and market their brand by having the Casiraghi chick sit down in the ateliers of Rue Cambon. She has a little book club. Yes, Charlotte Casiraghi, dressed in Chanel, head to toe, has her book club, darling. She's flown in her private jet, driven to Rue Cambon, where she's dressed head to toe Chanel with the little book that she read, darling. But she's always a little bit depressed. She studied philosophy. She wants to make the world a better place. So she has, invites these people who wrote the books. Then you have the author of the book that she wants to talk about in her book club. And then the author reads a chapter, and then they all go yeah, this is so deep, and let's talk about it on an intellectual level. And this is Chanel's snobby way of showing you that you will never belong to this academic intelligentsia. You might think they're showing, oh no, but it's great, they love books. Yeah, sure, but how a luxury brand, how does a luxury brand really show passion for books in the like what do you do to raise awareness about books and to make people want to read? You don't dress literally the Princess of Monaco, which is already unreachable. Chanel head to toe, so you already know, girl, untouchable. Bring them into the ateliers in Chanel. You know nobody's allowed access into those rooms. Reading reading these books, making it sound like, oh yeah, the author wrote this deep analysis of self-existentialism, and I feel it. I feel the pain of humanity when I read this book. It's that suffering, I am healing the world because I am feeling the pain through the book. So are we done here? Because my driver is going to take me back to my jet, and then I'm going to fly back to Monaco. I have a massage appointment later, but tomorrow, I don't know. I'm tired, I'm bored. Life is so bad, isn't it? All the hunger in the world. Did you see what's going down in Africa? Anyway, Virginie, is my haute couture dress ready? No? Okay, darling. I'll wait a little bit longer. And then you spray Rhapsody. That's what Rhapsody smells of. That rich being bored and depressed. Just because you're tired with life, because life has given you everything already. But you feel it's taken away everything from you because nobody can understand your pain and suffering. Nobody, because they just can't, sweetie darling. They can't, because you're special. You suffer in a different way. Your pain is different, and if they only knew that all that money actually means nothing to you, absolutely nothing. You see what I mean? With the logic just starts melting, and at a certain level of just coming from money, your pain is different. Your fears are different. Your pleasure is different. You have very little pleasure. There's very little to look forward to, because. And then you say, I don't need all these riches, all this money, because you already have it. So you start looking for other things. You start believing, well, I'm higher than this. I like to read. I'm a philosopher. I like to study philosophy because philosophy gives me that other meaning and makes me really think. And I have the time, because time is luxury. I don't have to work. I dedicate my life to this, to studying and feeling that pain internally. That's what Rhapsody smells of. It's terrible, but it's tantalizing at the same time. It has a citrusy connotation. I know citruses are not listed in here, but there's something fresh that keeps popping, bubbling up to the surface. It's a depressed, rich person. That's what this smells of. And I think it's a fascinating smell. Because how often do we smell the depression of the rich? Because you might think, well, you're rich. You got everything you want. You got all the money in the world. Why are you sad, girl? Get a grip. Snap out of it. Share moment. And yet, no. This Rhapsody feels its depressive oats. It lingers in that state of, oh, woe is me. Oh, withered have the days. I'm so in the gardens of Eden, darling. Oh, I feel the pain of all the world, darling. Fascinating. And at the bottom of it all is a hint of burning woods. It's almost as if in that distance, it's as if you knew that depression does have some sort of meaning, because you know everything is coming to an end. It's all going to burn down. It's all going to disappear. Everything is going towards that doom, because that fire, that burning smell, it comes closer and closer and closer. And the closer it comes, and the more depressed you become. And the more you are there, present, to take that final beating and be no more. So it's a very fascinating smell. Johnny says, "Oh no, depression is coming." Ha ha ha, says Johnny. Okay, Johnny also smells, "I need to smell like a rich person." Ha ha ha. And then 2 comments down, he said, "Oh no, depression is coming." Ha ha ha. Right? So no smelling like a rich. Yeah, Kevy says oats. Dacob's word of the day: feeling your depressing oats. Right, Kevy? Oh, the smell of the depression of the rich. Wow, says Kimberly. Yeah, that's what it is. Kimberly also says, "You're a poet with these perfume reviews, Dacob." Thank you so much. Thank you. Yeah. What else do I have? Um, Ryan, that's a funny one. Ryan says, "I wish I had enough money to be so depressed." Yeah, right? That's a good one. That's a good one. Oh, Gary, thanks so much. Gary says, "Dacob is the best." So sweet of you. Thank you. Um, oh, wait. Oh, this is interesting. Jesus says, "It's always the fashion guys you hook up with who have sterile homes in all black, stacks of clothes from Jill Sander, and minimalist Swedish brands." I know, it's so annoying. I can't. Uh, and they're gonna be so annoyed, you know, that they're gonna come for you in the comment section. Oh, whatever, girl. I don't care. Uh, oh wait, hold on. There's a Louis Vuitton introduces depressed rich person crying alone at night in their Porsche 911. Yes, Paige. Um, hold on. Let me scroll up. These chats are like all over the place, you guys. I saw an interesting one. No. Huh. Phoenix says, "I wonder how it will smell after a few hours and blending with the body chemistry of the wearer." Um, who knows? It's probably gonna become more warm, you know. Anyway, oh, these chats, they're scrolling. Rich Mitch said, "Did someone say depressed rich?" No, not you, sweetie. The rich. Rich Mitch. That is funny. I can't see all the chats. They keep disappearing. Anyway, my daughter majored in philosophy and she has plenty of time too. She can't find a job, says Michelle Crawford. Oh my God, that's a good one, Michelle. But she has plenty of time because of other reasons, obviously. But Charlotte Kaziragi, darling. Well, she. Oh, actually, um, you see here she is at the cover, wearing this cover of the Chanel magazine. This is Charlotte Kaziragi. You see, with that slightly absent look in her eyes, that kind of. You see what I mean? This is what I mean. This kind of. I'm wearing $150,000 worth of clothes on me and pampered all day and whatever. You know, that's the vibe of this perfume. That's kind of that. You see, this is what we're talking. Is she beautiful? Yes, of course, no doubt about it. Never questioned the beauty. Obviously, she's gorgeous, but there's that kind of, you know, that. Yeah, you know, that's the Rhapsody. Joseph says, "Coco Noir is my go-to sad but bougie fragrance." LOL, says Joseph. Um, okay, now this is deeper than that. This one, because Both of them have patchouli, both Coco Noir and this, but Coco Noir has a little bit more of a sweet patchouli element, less than Coco Mademoiselle, but it's a little bit sweet. This thing doesn't have any sweetness. This is a shebrah after all, so it goes into darker territories. It's darker than Coco Noir, much darker. Jesus says, she looks constipated. Give the girl some fiber. Apathy in a bottle, says Phoenix. That's a good one. Yeah, it's apathy in a bottle. Good point. And with that, I'm going to end it here. I don't know if I can play the end credits. If I can play the end credits, I'm going to have some final thoughts. Let me see. Susie Q, how about Portrait of a Lady? Susie Q, no. Portrait of a Lady. Portrait of a Lady is the epitome of the niche fragrance that some influencer or some hipster somewhere out there started pushing, just like Baccarat Rouge. Portrait of a Lady and Baccarat Rouge are the two epitomes of what I cannot stand about niche. It can smell amazing to some people, and it can smell amazing on some people. Both perfumes can, but they are so hyper hyped. Both of them. Madonna wears Portrait of a Lady, and again, she started wearing it like when it was already, you know, Madonna's usually, unfortunately, always late to the trend, but she appropriates trends. Voguing, for example, and so, you know, she's like, yeah, she felt like her oats because she's like, you know, Portrait of a Lady girl. Baccarat Rouge, the same thing. People who have never worn perfumes, and I watch a lot of the YouTube channels out there, people who never wear a freaking perfume come out saying, oh, I love Baccarat Rouge. I'm like, girl, you never even entered a perfume store in your life. So what I'm saying is department store, yes, so, you know, you got to see the mass releases, the mass release Dior's, the mass release Chanel's, but then, like, you never wore a perfume in your life, and then you're like, oh, but I love Baccarat Rouge, you guys. Trisha Paytas, I mean, bless her heart, it's a bit different for her, but she, you know, for her wedding, when she was choosing which perfumes to wear, like, she's asked people to send her tips, and people recommended her Baccarat Rouge amongst other things, and then she has a bunch of perfumes she was trying out, some of them Britney Spears fragrances. There was Coco Noir or Coco Mademoiselle in the list as well, Gabrielle, and Baccarat Rouge. She hated everything except for Britney Spears and Baccarat Rouge. And I'm like, what the hell? What is going on? And the same applies for Portrait of a Lady. A bunch of people who, like, literally don't care about perfume at all, but Portrait of a Lady. Now, this is why those two fragrances, to me, apart the fact that I don't like how they smell on me, but the reason why they're so hyped is always the wrong reason. It's a classic. Our society ticks in weird ways. How do things go viral? How do songs go viral? How do movies become viral? How do movies get selected for the Oscar? Well, there's a lot of politics behind that as well. And then perfumes. People who never wear perfumes, but then, and then especially niche, don't even know how to spell niche, let alone how to smell niche. Oh, I hate perfumes, but I love Baccarat Rouge. Like, girl, really? What the hell? Anyway, enough of my rambling and babbling, darling. Michelle Crawford says, you are so on point. Thank you. And I'm just saying, Joseph says, I find Baccarat Rouge absolutely rank. Alina says, if I wanted apathy in a bottle, I would bottle my mother in a perfume. Here goes the shade. Here goes the shade. This is expensive, but my verdict, if you can afford it, get it. It's a mood. It's definitely a mood. Thank you guys so much for watching, and until next time, never forget to never give up on love. Love you all. See you soon. Take care. Bye.